Namo Siddhanam. Jai Jinendra, everyone. Welcome to JainCenters.com's 20th anniversary celebrations. As part of our 20th anniversary celebrations, we are here with an event called as Jain Heritage Festival 2020. And today's is the 11th webinar that is part of our Jain Heritage Festival 2020 series. And before we start, here is a quick snapshot of our website, JainCenters.com, where it has details about when the website was found, who inaugurated it, the kind of publications on our website, the kind of research material on the website, and how we are positioned on the search engines. And moving on further, and here is a quick overview of our 20 years of effort that we should be proud of. And here is a quick snapshot of our achievements over the past 2 decades. And we can, interested people can browse through these details at a later date. And though it has been 2 decades, we feel the journey has just begun. And we have just started falling in the field of Jainism. And now let's move on to the main section of today's event, that is an exclusive webinar on folklore. And within this team, the main topic of today's lecture is Jaina folk literature in Karnataka. And our speaker for the day is Dr. S.P.Padmaprasad, who is a senior Kannada scholar who is based out of Tumkur in Karnataka. Now, before we start, let me give a quick introduction and about Dr. S.P.Padmaprasad. Dr. S.P.Padmaprasad is a senior Kannada writer. His father was Payappa Shetty and his mother is Srimati Jinnamma. He was born at Hosanagara. Later on, he did his Bachelor of Science from Sahyadri College, Shivamogga, Bachelor of Education from National College of Education, then MA in Kannada from Karnataka University, Dharwad. Then he submitted his PhD thesis on Jaina Janapada Sahitya, Sampadane Hago Adhyayana, under the guidance of Hampa Nagarajaya sir. And he was awarded the doctoral degree for that from the University of Bangalore. When it comes to his literary contribution, he has contributed in various forms of literature that include folklore, poetry, dramatics, reviews, light literature, also called as Lalita Prabandha, novels, and biography. He has also edited many literary works, and he has published over 60 books in Kannada and English language. And when it comes to his works, just to give a quick snapshot, when it comes to his folklore works, Janapada ಮತ್ತು Jaina Katha Sahitya, that is folklore and Jain story literature, Hadhelu Tangi Daniyatti, Jaina Janapada Geetagalu, and other 8 literary works which are all related to folklore. When it comes to his contribution in the field of dramatics, he has authored about 7 dramas. Just to name a couple of them: Kerege Hara, Nege Challida Hudigi, Jallianwala Bagh. And then when it comes to his anthology, that is collection of poems, he has written multiple books, some of them. Just to name some of them: Nanna Jana, Nanna Kitakiya Ache, Arohana, Drakshi Gunchalu, Deepavaliya Balika. Then when it comes to his work on the collection of light literary essays, or called as Lalita Prabandha, those include Brindavana, Maguvembam Muddu Kavite. Then he is also an educationalist. He has authored many books related to the education. Those include Education and National Concerns, Information and Communication Technology in Education, School Management, Secondary Education in India, and also Shaikshanika Samshodhani. Moving on, he's also edited multiple works, just to name a couple of them: Payanna Kaviya Prachina Jaina Natakagalu, and 8 books under the Adunika Jaina Punya Purusharu series. And when it comes to his review literature, his works, CPK ಒಂದು ಕಾವ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸ, ಕಮಲ ಹಂಪನ ಒಂದು ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ, ಆಸ್ವಾದನೆ, and ನಿಕಷ. Again, when it comes to his literary works, Jaina Lokika Shastra Sahitya, Dr. Sale Kadambari Loka, Vistruta Bhaktamara Stotra Deepike. In addition to this, one of his latest works that is come out is Jaina Sahitya Charitre, which includes a complete work of which spans over 4 different volumes, which gives us a complete uh, view of the literary works that have come in, and also the various writers who have come in over the centuries. And out of the 4 volumes, 3 of them have already been 2 of them have been published. The third one is almost about to be completed by end of the month, and the 4th volume will be published in a few months. So that will be one of the milestone works of Dr. Padmaprasad, which gives a complete overview of the Jaina literary literature and the contributors over the past 2000 years, I should say. Having said this, I think it's definitely an honor for us to have such a learned scholar and one of the very few experts on folklore, and particularly the Jaina folklore in the country. And I think it's definitely a proud moment for all of us to, and it's one of the most awaited lectures in the series, to hear from his words about the Jaina folklore literature in Karnataka. And with this, I'll leave the stage for Dr. Padmaprasad sir to take over. Sir, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, Jai Janendra to all. Deviating from the normal path of reciting any shloka before commencing a speech related to Jainism, I prefer to start my speech by reciting 2 small Jaina folk poems, Tripadis, 3-lined poems. ಹಾರಿಗೆ ಬಸ್ತೀಲಿ ಹಾಲಂತ ಅಭಿಷೇಕ ಆನಂತರ ನೋಂಪಿ ಬೆಳತಂಕ ಅಲ್ಲೈ ತಪ್ಪೈಗೆ ಹೊಸ ನೋಂಪಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್. ಸಿದ್ಧರೆ ಗತಿಯೆಂದು ಅದ್ದಿದೆ ಕಡೆಗೋಲ, ಸಿದ್ಧರೆ ಗತಿಯೆಂದು ಅದ್ದಿದೆ ಕಡೆಗೋಲ, ಸಿದ್ಧ ಸಾಲಿಗನ ದಯದಿಂದ, ಸಿದ್ಧ ಸಾಲಿಗನ ದಯದಿಂದ ಮೇಲಿರುವ ಮಜ್ಜಿಗೆಲವ್ವ ಹೊಸ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ. The first poem is related to a Basdi, a Jain temple in the village Harige, which is in Sagar Taluk, Shumaga district. And it tells that till morning Anantana Nompi celebration goes on, and my father is celebrating that Nompi in that temple. The second poem relates to that the curdling milk, that the curds are being removed to make it converted into buttermilk. Then the housewife says, by recollecting the memory of Siddhas, I put the wooden stick into the pot and started grinding the curds. And by the grace of Jaina, in the buttermilk, the good butter flow says. So this shows that Jaina folk literature, Jaina folk songs in Kannada speak about the works, and even gods are recalled or memorized even in the working song. The first poem that I recited mentions about the Nompis or Vratas performed by Jains in Basadis. Now I shall come to the topic proper. In the beginning, I shall give some introduction for some 5 minutes regarding Jaina demography and the folk songs in Jains. Later, I go to the main part of different types of folk songs in Karnataka. Karnataka is one of the states with more number of Jains in India. According to 2011 census, the population was about 6 lakhs, but not all these were Kannada speaking people as their mother tongue. North Indian Jains who have come and settled are also included in this number. And some other Jains live in urban areas where folk literature is not found. It is found very rarely. And rest of the Jains live in villages, in rural areas. And so folk literature is found among Jains living in the rural areas, that too who are doing the agricultural works, are working as agricultural laborers. Study of folklore in Jains started with by none other than Dr. M.A. Jayachandra, who is going to deliver a talk tomorrow.
I think we lost Padmaprasad, sir. Padmaprasad sir will join us in a couple of minutes. There is some technical problem. Kindly bear with us. There is some technical issues due to which Padmaprasad sir has been disconnected. He will be back online in a minute or so. Thank you.
So I shall continue now.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay, Nitin?
Yes, sir. I'll just spot. Maybe if you can switch on your video. Yes, yeah. I'll spotlight you. Yes, sir. Continue, sir.
Yeah. Such type of rasabhas programs, it is unavoidable. So,
Yes, sir.
And next to Dr. Jayachandra, I started collecting folk songs and folk stories, particularly with Jaina elements. By Jaina element, I meant the folk song or folk story or a folk poem must have at least one Jaina element. That means name of the Tirthankara, Yakshas, Yakshis, or Jaina pilgrimage places, Jaina vratas or nompis, whatever such, any specific Jaina items or even Jaina technical terms like that. So I started concentrating on the such folk songs and I collected them. And it was way back in 1969 when even folklore scholars in Karnataka did not knew that Jains have folk literature. The impression about Jains was that all Jains are forward people, they have education, there is no poverty, so there cannot be folk literature among Jains. But on my collection, I could collect more than 300 pages of Jaina folk songs and some Jaina legends with Jaina elements. Prior to this, there are only two stray incidents of Jaina folk songs being collected and documented. One is in Mallige Dande collection by Halasangi Friends, led by the famous Kannada poet Halasangi Chenna Mallappa or Madhura Chenna. He died about 50 years ago. That is different. They, in his collection, in the collection published by that team, there are only two folk poems, 3-line poems, which are called Tripadis, related to Padmavati and Jwalamalini, one each there. And after that, another such documentation is found in Dr. Shivram Karan's book, Janapada Geetegalu. It is a book of 3 lectures delivered by him at Mysore University then, way back in about 1960 or 62 or so. And there he has quoted one Arati Hadu, Arati song by sung by Jains. There also it is related to Yakshis. Apart from these, there were no incident, no documentation of Jaina folk literature was done. Okay, now I shall come to this particular part of explaining what Jaina folk literature is in Karnataka, how it is, and can we classify it, what is the substance of Jaina folk literature in Kannada, etc. Jaina folk literature in Kannada is found in all types of folklore. That is, we can find proverbs related to Jains, and we can find the naming riddles, Vadapu, in marriages, while husband or wife is asked to tell his better half's name, then he or she will not tell it directly. He will construct some riddle, and then in that he inserts his or her name. So they are naming riddle, Vadapugalu, it is called in Kannada. And then folk stories and folk songs. The folk songs are in larger number according to my collection, and the naming riddles and proverbs are less. Proverbs having Jaina elements are there in Marathi and Tulu also. I have collected a couple of Tulu proverbs related to Jain and one Marathi proverb. So these simple parts will be taken in the beginning, and at the later stage, I shall come to this folk song section, because it is a larger one. It consumes more time. Fortunately, I am the only one today, so that I can give a fairly explanatory talk on this topic today, but for these technical problems. The naming riddles or Vadapugalu have been found in a lesser number. There it is said that when one lady, a just married bride, is asked to tell her husband's name, she tells, Artili heluve arahanತರ ಹೆಸರ, ಪ್ರೀತಿಲಿ ಹೇಳುವೆ ನನ್ನವರ ಹೆಸರ, and she tells her husband's name. Arti means love. With love I shall tell the name of Arahanta, and with love I shall tell the name of my husband so and so. She adds his name. And later such things, such naming riddles are found in Jaina folklore. It is mostly found in northern Karnataka than in southern Karnataka. And coming to the Jaina proverbs with Jaina elements, there are about 10 to 12 proverbs so far found. And some of them were long back recorded by Reverend Ferdinand Kittel while compiling his dictionary. He has added many proverbs, about 4,000 proverbs are there, and about 8 such proverbs are related to Jains, and in some other places also we can find. Totally about 10 to 12 Jaina proverbs with Jaina elements are found. For example, Jainara Vasa Kaudi Hasa. Vasa means the evening meal. So it is humorically said that Jains, soon after finishing their meal, they will just spread their bed and sleep, because they do not have any other work. It is a funny statement, that is all, not much serious one. And then another thing is Jaina meenu tinda hage. That as a Jain ate the fish, and that means Jains are pure vegetarians, and he just spoiled his name and his vrata by eating a fish, it is told. That means so petty thing like that. And then some other proverbs are there. Quamti koda Jaina bida. Quamti means Vaishya, the merchant class people. That means there is a community in Karnataka who are pakka businessmen, and they do not live even a paisa simply. And Jains are so clever that they do not allow any concession that is available, that could be available, that could be taken. So Quanti Koda Jaina Bida, like that. And then there is another proverb, Jaina Kudi Ketta, Domba Agali Ketta. That means Dombaro means the people who make street exercises on the street, and they should work together. If they get separated, if there is no unity in the team, then their show will fail and they may get into any physical damages. But Jains, if they mingle with other people all the time, then they cannot maintain their vratas, their discipline, ritualistic discipline. So Jaina Kudi Ketta, if a Jain mixes with other people, he will be spoiled. And if Domba, the team members separate, they will get spoiled. This is another one. And then another proverb, Bettale iddavarige yattalo bhayavilla. That means those who are mute, they have no fear at all. That's something. So there is one interesting proverb in Marathi, which I collected in the border areas attached to Miraj. There, Sampal Sodo, Jainal Sodo na. That means if you find a snake and a Jain, you beat the Jain, allow this snake to escape. Why such proverb might have come into existence. It is a curious factor. It also shows how much animosity they might have had at one point of time against Jains. And in Tulu, I have found two proverbs. One is Jaina Nante Iji. That means a Jain has no relation at all. That means he is a Viragi. Mentally, he is a Viragi, and he has more alienation towards Atma Dhyana and philosophy more than physical worldly relationship. That is one. Another thing is there, another proverb is there. Madhyana Branire Piravuda Pauna Balli, Bayad Jainara Piravuda Pauna Balli. That means in the afternoon, don't go behind a Brahmin because that is his meal's time. He may get disturbed and he may express his anger. And in the evening, don't go behind a Jain because that is their meal time and that may be disturbed. So, such are the problems. And coming to folk stories, which I will be taking later, I shall just tell that there can be two traits of our which tell about something that is believed to be true about a place else, or also like and other are the morals. I shall come to it later. I shall go make of pictures in Karnataka. Folk songs are yes. The folk songs are of different types. There are songs related to rituals like marriages, naming ceremony or hair cutting ceremony, like that. There are folk songs related to different vratas or nopis performed. There are folk songs related to the blessings. There are folk songs telling about the morality or moral behavior or good conduct. They are like the advising in nature. And then there are folk songs related to like Shavan Belagula Humcha. There are folk songs related to the people going to pilgrimage places, like Belagulakke Hoguva Hadu, Kumbuchekke Hoguva Hadu, like that. And there are folk songs related to the threading ceremony or Gruha Pravesha function, like that. So, and there are folk songs related to special, mentionable, remarkable rituals like Diksha. There is one Diksha Hadu, or a song related to Diksha. One taking, renouncing the worldly matters and taking Diksha and getting involved in Atma Sakshatkar, like that. So, and these folk songs are of different types. There are songs, songs with two-lined stanzas, or songs with connected three-lined poems like Tripadis, and there are stick play songs, etc. Like that, many such songs are types of folk literature. For example, I shall now try to tell you one stick play, and many of these songs are related to S.P.Padmaprasad. Yakshi Padmavati is most popular goddess, praised and prayed by Jaina folks. And apart from Padmavati, Jwalamalini is prayed and praised in some folk song, and next place is to Kushmandini or Ambika Yakshi. And among Tirthankaras, Jaina folk songs tell about mostly about this one, Bahubali or Gomateshwara. And Parshvanatha is less mentioned, even Mahavira is less mentioned. Most and the Siddhas who have achieved salvation, they are mentioned more and they are praised more and prayed more in Jain's songs. So I shall begin to explain with example. See, this is one folk song about Yakshi Padmavati, and it is in the stick play song, Kolatada Hadu. The people, mostly ladies, and even gents will play stick plays in the village areas. It is common. Nowadays, everything is diminishing, that is different. And in this Kolatada Hadu, or stick play song, goddess Padmavati, Yakshi Padmavati is prayed. It is so friendly that the boys who have come to play stick with her palace, and as for this told there, it is a long song. I shall tell only some 3 or 4 stanzas of that. The beginning or the Pallavi is like this. ಕೋಲಾಡನೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಕೊನಿಯ ಗುಡ್ಡದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೊನಿಯ ಗುಡ್ಡದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅತಿಲಕ್ಕಿ ಮರನ ತಳಿಲಗೆ ಅತಿಲಕ್ಕಿ ಮರನ ತಳಿಲ ಬಾಗಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ತಳುಲ ಬಾಗಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಪದ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಆಡಿದರೆ ಜಿನಗೋಲ ರನ್ನದ ಸೋ ಕೋಲೆ ಕೋಲೆ ಮುತ್ತಿನ ಸ್ವಾಂಗೆ ನವಿಲೆ. ಸ್ವಾಂಗೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ಪೀಕಾಕ್, female peacock. Soge. So here the team comes and they are in front of the palace of Padmavati, and they request her to come and join them and tells her, let us play stick play under the lucky tree, which is botanically called Vitex nirgunde, that is its botanical name, which is behind the Padmavati temple in Humcha. About which there is a different story that is different. So come, let us play. And then she starts playing, and they ask her, where is Dharanendra Swami? Is he not inside the home? Then Padmavati replies, ಕೋಲಾಡನೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅತಿಯ ಅತಿಲಕ್ಕಿ ಮರನ ತಳಿಲಗೆ ಅಮ್ಮಯ್ಯ ಧರಣೇಂದ್ರರಿಲ್ಲೇನು ಮನಿಯಾಗೆ. They ask her, is not Dharanendra at home? Avaga, the Padmavati replies them, he is there slanting on the cot. You just see him. ಧರಣೇಂದ್ರರಿಲ್ಲೇನು ಮನಿಯಾಗೆ ಹೊರಗಿರುವ ಪಟ್ಟೆ ಮಂಚದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇದರೋಡಿ. He is there on the patte mancha, the very decorated cot. You can see. But Dharanendra doesn't come and joins, but Padmavati comes and joins with these boys, and then she gives them the presentation gifts at the end. Then that is also said. What did she give to them? Then ಕೋಲಾಡ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಈಗೇನ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಪಟ್ಟೆ ಸೀರೆಗೆ ಉಡುಗೆರೆ ಪಟ್ಟೆ ಸೆಲ್ಲೆಗೆ ಉಡುಗೆರೆ. What did they give to those boys and girls who came to play stick play with her? She gave very valuable saris and shalyas wearing uttariya. So like that it is told. And then there are cradle songs, Jogulada Hadu. the cradle songs. One cradle song is named after Jinadatta, the person who was blessed by goddess Padmavati and who established the kingdom at Humbucha. This is in a different style. Dharanendra Narasi Varaputra Jojo Taruni Sushantana Rupane Jojo Dharani Pasakara Tanayane Jojo Taruni Pampala Devi Sahajata Jojo Jojo. In this opening stanza, Jojo means it is Jogula, the cradle song, while swinging the cradle, then Jojo is the rhythm. Here it is told he is the son of Dharanendra, and then he is the son of Sakara Maharaja, and Pampala Devi was his sister. It is said in the story Padmavati Mahatma that Sakara Maharaja and Shriyala Devi had 3 female children, and lastly they had Jinadatta. So Pampala Devi is one of Jojo Kshatriya Kulake Niranna Jojo Satguna Bharita Sampanna Jojo Jojo Jinadharma Pala Mohana Jojo Yendo Nariyaru Tuyidare Munna Jojo. And then at the end, the singer blesses the Jinadatta Raya, telling Devi Padmavati Ninna Rakshisali Devendra Naishwarya Nimmadagirali Devadi Deva Vandita Nayadali Kovida Nagiru Sakala Rayarali Jojo. That means let Goddess Padmavati bless you, and let the wealth of Devendra be yours, and let numerous gods at your friend, what Devadi Deva, let your life be wisest among all Ella Rayarali, Sakala Rayarali. You be the wisest among all kings. That only brings name to him, to the kingdom, and to the religion he follows. So, telling such songs, our housewives make arati to the newly wedded couple, to the child, and they bless the child. Harasi seya nittu arati belagutta muguviಗೆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯ ತೆಗೆದು ಮುಖವಿಟ್ಟು ಗೋಕುಲದಿ ಧರಣೀಪ ಸಾಕಾರ ನೃಪ ಸಂತೋಷವಾಗಿ ತರಿಸಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟನು ವೀಳ್ಯ ಉಚಿತ ಮುಂತಾಗಿ ಜೋ ಜೋ. So they blessed the child like that, and his father was so much pleased that he gifted to all those ladies. So such wonderful things are there. And related to the regular behavior of Jaina people, we can find many folk poems in Kannada, in Karnataka. See, one mother-in-law tells her daughter-in-law like that. See, your husband is going to start reading Purana, Jinakatha, in the outer platform, on the outer platform, and you keep the lamp to facilitate his reading. While telling this, how she addresses the child, the daughter-in-law, she addresses her as, you are the daughter of one who doesn't misses his words, and you are the daughter-in-law of one who has morals, and bring and keep the lamp on the outer platform so that your husband start his reading of Jinakatha. The original song is like this. Maatu ullara magale, neeti ullara sosiye. Maatu ullara magale, neeti ullara sosiye. Jyoti tandirise jagulige. ಜ್ಯೋತಿ ತಂದಿರಿಸೆ ಜಗುಲಿಗೆ ನಿನಪುರಿಸ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರವನೋದುವದೆ ಬೆಳಗಾದೋ. Your husband reads the Jinakatha, the mythology so well that the audience will not realize whether it has dawned or not. He reads till then. His reading is so interesting. That is the dhvani, inner meaning here. And about drinking water, it is all known to us that Jains, they filter the water several times before consuming it. So that here, one mother-in-law again tells to her daughter-in-law, or we can also interpret it is like just one mother telling it to her daughter. ಹಾಲ ಸೋಸ ಮಗಳೇ ನೀರ ಸೋಸ, ಹಾಲ ಸೋಸ ಮಗಳೇ ನೀರ ಸೋಸ, ಜಿನರ ಧರ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡಿಮಗಳ. See, my daughter, you filter the water, you filter the milk, and you move in the path as told by Jinas. If you do like that, heaven comes to your. And there are many folk songs, folk poems related to going to pilgrimage places. One such remarkable song is about going to Shravanabelagula. Going to Shravanabelagula, when the transport facility was not there, when the roads were not good, was a lifetime project for many rural Jains in northern Karnataka, like the Bijapur edge or Belgaum district edge, or even in the Malnad area, like inner part of Shimoga district, etc. So when they have to start, they had to move by cart, and the village head, if he were a Jain, he used to start such cargo, and he used to call other people who wish to accompany and see Belagula. So then he asked the drum beater and asked him to beat the drum and announce the whole village that those who want to see Belagula may come with him. See how nicely he addresses even that drum beater here to announce it. Gutti ಹೊಳೆಯಾಚೆ ನಿತ್ತು ಡಂಗುರ ಸಾರೋ, ಮುತ್ತಿನುಂಗುಲದ ತಳವಾರ, ಮುತ್ತಿನುಂಗುಲದ ತಳವಾರ ಬೆಳಗುಳವ, ನೋಡಬೇಕೆಂದವರ ಬರಹೇಳೋ. You, the drum beater who wears the pearl ring on your ears, you go and tell all the people that those who want to go to Shravanabelagula may come and join me, like that. This is one type. Another type of folk song going to expressing the wish to go to Shravanabelagula is also there. That says, ಬೆಳಗುಳವೆಂಬುವುದು 61 ದಾರಿ, ಬರತೀರೆ ಕಾಲ ನಡಿಕೆಲಿ, ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಜಯ ಜಯ ಅರಹಂತ ನೇಮಿ ಜಯ ಜಯ. So Belagula is 61 haradari. One haradari is equal to 3 miles. So 3 miles is equal to 4.8 kilometers. So Belagula is so at such a higher distance, and will you come? And this Swami Jaya Jaya Arahanta Nemi Jaya Jaya is the pallavi of this. And then one lady, he is calling only men. Then his housewife and other ladies in the house ask, Dare hendati bittu, ಕೂಡಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೆಳಗುಳ ಕೋದ ಫಲವೇನು, ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಜಯ ಜಯ ಅರಹಂತ ನೇಮಿ ಜಯ ಜಯ. See, what is the use of going to Shravanabelagula? What is the fun of it? If you leave the married wife and the children who are born to you, leaving all of them, you alone go to Shravan Belagula. It is a fun, it is useless. Then the leader, the householder, he explains the reason that can you withstand all the difficulties going to such a long distance back? You have to walk the route. So then he says, ಧಾರಿ ಬರತೀರೆ ಕಾಲ ನಡಿ ಕೇಲಿ ಬರತೀರೆ ಕಾಲ ನಡಿಕೇಲಿ ಕನ್ನೇರ ಕೂಡಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ನೀವು ಕರೆದುಕೊಂಡು. See, it is such a long distance. Can you come by walk with carrying all these children? Then they agree. Then he says, see, till we go and see the face of Bhagavan Bahubali, you should follow some vrata. You should leave taking sweet materials, this and that, and you should not say that your legs are strained, etc. So that then ಮುಟ್ಟಾಗಿರುವವರು ಮುಟ್ಟು ಸನಿಯ ಇರುವವರು ಬರುವಾದರೆ ತಾಯಿ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. So those who are nearing the menses period or in the menses period, please you don't come, you stay at home. Then ಬಿಸಿಲು ಸುಡುವದೆಂದು ಮರದಾಡಿ ನಿತ್ತೀರಿ ನಿತ್ತರೆ ಪಾಪ ನಿಮಗಹುದು. ಕಾಲು ಸೋಲುವುದೆಂದು ಮರದಾಡಿ ನಿತ್ತೀರಿ ನಿತ್ತರೆ ಪಾಪ ನಿಮಗಹುದು. You should not say that hot sun is burning you and you should not stand under the shade. You should not say that your legs are paining and you should not stay, take rest there. If you do all these things, you will be a sinner, he says. Then when all these conditions are accepted by those ladies, then he says, yes, get prepared yourself. For that, what should you take the small cup in which you have to feed the child, giving milk to it, etc. And all that. He said, hala tadaga khaki, arule tadaga khaki, balar hala kudi. ಆ ಮಾತು ಬೇರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಹಾಲು ಕುಡಿಯೋ ಲೋಟನ, ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಹಾಲು ಕುಡಿಯೋ ಒಳಲೇನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಸಜ್ಜು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೋತೇವೆನ್ನದೀರಿ ಬಳಲಿವೆನ್ನದೀರಿ ಹೋಗಿರೇ ಕಾಲ ನಡಿಕೇಲಿ, ಹೋಗಿರೇ ಕಾಲ ನಡಿಕೇಲಿ ನಿಸ್ತ್ರೇರ ಬೆಳಗೋಳ ನೋಡಿ ಬರುವನೆ. So you don't stand, don't say that you are tired, you just keep on moving till we reach and see Lord Bahubali, till we reach the place like that. Later on in the song it comes, because it has about 60 or 65 stanzas, so all that cannot be told here. So in the song it continues, they go there and they reach the place, and then they arrange Mahamastakabhisheka there, and then they bring materials for that from different places. Gutti Raje Khogi Kattad Huraji Tarsi Attala Kattidaru Mugaludda, Attala Kattidaru Mugaludda Swamige Halina Abhishekava Todigyaru. From one place called Gutti, they got the ropes, and from some other place they got the wooden logs, and they got the attalige, that means the standing platform behind the statue, so that it reaches the sky. And after constructing that wooden platform behind, now since 1968 it is very easy that they are making the iron, the steel rods and all those things. It has become much easier, but not before that. So these folk songs record how it was being done then in olden times, when these nut and bolt technology was not available there in that village. And then the story of Gulukayajji comes here. ಅಟ್ಟಲು ಕಟ್ಟಿದರು ಮುಗಲುದ್ದ ಅಭಿಷೇಕ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಪಾದದ ಅವರಕ್ಕೆ ಇಳಿಯಾವು. So they pour it so much but it doesn't comes below the knee. It doesn't comes to the feet. Then Gullada Kayajji Halondu Kene Mosaru Iga Gondiga Abhiseka. Then one Gulkayaji comes there and he pours some curds and milk, and then everything Halo Hallagi Haridavu. Everything flows down. The whole milk flows down like a river, and it makes a pond down the hill. So such things. That means the story of Chamundaraya is related. Folks have related it in their own way. They do not bother about the history. They record history in their own way. This is how we have to interpret how a real history take the folklore form. This is a curious point of study. And then there are the cradle song is of another type that they say. Tugu tugamaya tugamma adi jinariddallige. In one cradle sang, see, you put the child in the cradle and swing it so that, yeah, where? Till what time? Till it reaches the Adijina, he said. So like that. And then in that song it comes, the names of Jinadattaraya, etc., all that comes. Okay. Then another interesting song is there. I think I have only about 10 minutes time now. Another interesting song about S.P.Padmaprasad is there, that the bangle wearing song or Bale Toduva Hadu. Fortunately, I have been able to collect 7 different texts of this bangle wearing song in different parts of Karnataka. Here, it is said that a bangle seller comes to Padmavati's palace, and he comes to the bazaar to sell the bangles. Padmavati comes with her sahelis or maid servants, and then she gets all the bangles, etc. And she goes back, and he comes to her palace seeking for the money. And then Padmavati blesses him, giving him a good meal, a time and room to sleep, and afterwards she gives him abundant money, and he goes out. After going there out, he tells with other people that she has not given the money for bangles. When this comes to the knowledge of goddess Padmavati, she curses him. Then he realizes that, it is Padmavati. So far, he did not know that it is goddess Padmavati. He thought that she is an ordinary woman. But when somebody tells him that it is goddess Padmavati who came to him and purchased bangles and gave him money abundantly, even then he is telling lie, then he feels sorry for that. He repents and he tells that he will offer so much to goddess Padmavati's temple. Then the goddess Padmavati revokes the curse she had put on him, and she blesses him. Let all his wealth be as it was. So this is Bale Toduva Hadu. Here, the simplest version doesn't have any Jaina element. It only tells that a girl, she was then a young widow, came to the bazaar. She got the bangles put to her hand as an youngster normally wishes, and without giving money, she goes back, and then the bangle seller comes and inquires with her parents. And when they came to know, she runs to the backyard and thrashing her bangles against a stone, she curses him like that. But later, as it goes to different places, it gets geographically different places, and as different points get attached to it, and it develops many religious items, and it becomes a Jaina folk song related to Padmavati. In some songs, the cursing point is there. In some other songs, it is not there. So, like that, it is the development of a folk song, a normal folk song into a religious folk song could be easily traced by studying these 7 different textual variations of this Bengal wearing song. So, ಅತ್ತಣ ರಾಜ್ಯಿಂದ ಆದ್ವಾಣ ಪುರದಿಂದ ಮುತ್ತಿನ ಕ್ಷತಿಯ ಬಳಿ ಬಂದು ಮುತ್ತಿನ ಕ್ಷತಿಯ ಬಳಿ ಬಂದು ಹೊಂಬುಚದ ತಾಯಮ್ಮ ತೊಡುವ ಬಳೆ ಬಂದು. So he came from such a long distance from Gutti, that means the present Chandragutti, and even farther place, Goa. From there he came. He brought so many varieties of bangles, and they were fit to be worn by this goddess Padmavati. Then the Padmavati comes to him and asks, Hanavive Sanna Bali Esto, I will give you money. What is the cost? Then he said, Hasurane Hannandu Neelane Hadinaidu Muttina Kshatiye Hadinare. He tells the price. Then she orders him to put the bangles to her and also to her maid servants who have accompanied her. Hachane Hinda Kasarido Mundaka Neela Nido Muttina Kshatiya Nadagidu Muttina Kshatiya Nadagidu Baligara 900 Balige Belige Sari Madu. You give green bangles, red bangles, and pearl-studded bangles in such way, and they put the bangles to such a total sum of about 900 rupees, 900 currency coins. Then, so like that it goes. And so, in another variation, after getting every remuneration from Padmavati, he goes to another place and tells, Balanitta lekka baralilla. I did not get the amount for putting the bangles, etc. Then, when it comes to the knowledge, she curses him. And then when he comes to know, he prays. Vajrada Mudidandi, Rannada Madilaki, Tayi Padmauna Harakiye. I shall offer you a diamond head ring, head ornament, and then the pearls will be put into your madilu, into your womb. Please excuse me. Then she uses such a thing. So this is an interesting song going like that. And lastly, in the folk songs division, I will prefer to quote the Diksha Hadu, which we can say as the contribution of Jains, Kannada Jains, to Jaina folklore of India. Here, an young man, unmarried, coming from a rich family, wants to renounce this worldly affairs and take Diksha. But his parents try to dissuade him, and they tells him everything what he has, and they offer him that he can enjoy all the enjoyments of this worldly life, but he rejects. Swami Jaya Jaya Arahanta Nemi Jaya Jaya, like that. This is the Pallavi. And then Harige Bastili, 12 Marudha Pustaka, Odo Ammaina Vachanava, Odo Ammaina Vachana Ujjantagirige, Hoga Bekutaye Jaina Dikshe. So there is a long book in the temple in the Harige. Harige is a village in Sagar Taluk, as I told earlier, which is still in good condition. And a long book is there. Read it. Then the son tells, I can read it, but I want to go to Ujjantagiri and take Diksha. Then they say, Katti hidida kaige kamanda hidisyaru tande taiya torisyaru tande taiya torisyaru ele magane bada bado kandaya Jaina Diksha. So you are one who was a hero. You held sword. Now to your such hand, such a heroic hand, they are going to give Pinchi and Kamandala. So please don't go, my son. Then he says, replies, Katti hidida kaige, Kamanda hidibeku, Tande taiya toribeku. Tande taiya toribeku, Kanna tayava na hoga beke, Jina dikshe. Yes, I have to give up this sword and I have to hold Kamandala and I have to go and take Jinadiksha. Then they says the difficult oaths that one Jaina Yati have to follow. That is, Netti Kudalu, Beragadi Kiduvaga, Hetta Hoteli, Urulavo, Hetta Hoteli, Urulavo, Kandaya, Bada Kanamagane, Jina Dikshe. You see, when your hairs are removed by hand, we who have delivered you, our heart burns, our stomach burns. So don't go there, my son. He gives the reply in the same tone. Netti ಕೂದಲು ಬೇರಾಗಡೆ ಕಿಳಬೇಕು, ಹೆತ್ತ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಲಿ ಉರಿಬೇಕು, ಹೆತ್ತ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಲಿ ಉರಿಬೇಕು, ತಾಯವ್ವ ನಾ ಹೋಗಬೇಕೆ ಜಿನ ದೀಕ್ಷೆ. See, this should happen, and I should go and take Jaina Diksha. My hairs on the head should be removed by hand. Then they say again, Panne ಕೂದಲು ಬೇರಾಗಡಿ ಕಿಡುವಾಗ ಹೆತ್ತ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಲಿ ಉರುಲಾವು. They say Panne means face. So the hairs on the face will also be taken out by hand. And we feel very sad. Then he again repeats that it should happen. Then they says that you can marry any girl. We shall stand and arrange the marriage and you can be happy. ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೊಪ್ಪುವ ಕನ್ನೆದಾರೆಯ ಮಾಡಿ ರನ್ನಗಾರಿಗೆಯ ಹಿಡಿದೇನೋ, ರನ್ನಗಾರಿಗೆಯ ಹಿಡಿದೇನೋ ಕಂದಯ್ಯ ಬೇಡ ಕಣ ಮಗನೇ ಜಿನ ದೀಕ್ಷೆ. You say whomever you wish, we shall get her married to you and we shall do all the ceremonies. Don't go and take Diksha. Then he replies, ಕಂಡರ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ತಂದು ಕರ್ಮ ಮಾಡದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ದಾಯಾದಿ ಪಾಲಿಗೆ ಹೆಣಗಾಡಿ, ದಾಯಾದಿ ಪಾಲಿಗೆ ಹೆಣಗಿ ಬಾಳದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಬೇಡ ನಾ ಹೋಗತೀನಿ ಜಿನ ದೀಕ್ಷೆ. Why should we bring a girl from another house and why should we quarrel for partition of property with our brothers? No, we don't want all these things. I don't want to entangle in this karma of samsara. I want to go and take Diksha. ಏನೇನ ಹೇಳಿದಾರು ಕೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ ಕಂದಯ್ಯ, ಈಗ ಹೊರಟಾರವ್ವ ಹೊರ ಪಯಣ, ಈಗ ಹೊರಟಾರವ್ವ ಹೊರ ಪಯಣ ಅಂದ ಹೇಳಿ ತಂಗಿದಿರುರುಳಿ ಹೊರುಳ್ಯಾರೆ. Any matter of any point, any words of convincing doesn't make him give up his oath, and he goes out. And his sisters telling this, brother is going out. He goes out telling that they just roll on the ground. So ಕಾರ್ಕಳ ಮುಡಬಿದ್ರೆ ನಡುವೆ ಪಂಬುಚ ಮಠ ಸಾವಿಕಾರೆಲ್ಲ ಶರಣೆಂದ್ರೆ. While going ಕಾರ್ಕಳ ಮುಡಬಿದ್ರೆ, all such places, all the rich people go to his feet. ಆ ಸಾವಿಕಾರೆಲ್ಲ ಶರಣೆಂದು ಪಾದಗಾಣಿಕೆಯ ಇಡು ಬಂದ್ರೆ, they bow to his feet, they put ಪಾದಕಾಣಿಕ, the contribution to his feet. So the daughters, that means his sisters, reported, this is a jewel folk song created by Jains of Karnataka. And I have found only one such folk song during my vast field work. I could not find another one. The textual variations are not much available. So after all these things, so such Jaina folk songs are rich in their pattern, in their substance, and in their rhythm, in their prosodic variation is also there. And it adds to the richness of folk literature of India. Lastly, I shall come to just some sentences I shall speak about the folk tales. Many of the folk tales are collected or do belong to the legends. That means a story that is believed to be true and it is related to a particular place or person. So it is about Shravana Bahubali. It is known to many of Kannadiga Jain that there is a story that Rama and Lakshmana, while coming off from Sri Lanka, they carved a statue or the figure of Lord Bahubali on that monolithic rock, and they worshipped it and went away. And then Hanuman put another rock in front of it so that nobody disturbed that drawing. And later, many years later, Chaundraya got a sculpture and got it carved. Like that, there is one story. And there is another story about the Guhe Padmavati, which is behind the Shravana-Belagula Vindhyagiri hill. That there is a place called Poppalu. There is another small hill. There is a rectangular opening at the foot of that small hill, and it is believed that inside there is Padmavati Yakshi, and one sheep watching boy, he went there inside as one lamb entered in, and he found the goddess Padmavati there. She blessed him with 3 stones and he became rich. She had warned him not to tell the story to anyone. Like that, there is another story like that. And there are many stories like this related. And and another story is that related to Humbucha, that the goddess Padmavati created 2 pearls in the big talab tank that is there, which is popularly called Muttinakere, and to test the mind of Janadatta. And one pearl was very pure and another had a small dot, and he got 2 nose rings made out of those 2 pearls, and he offered the pure one to his queen, and one with little impurity he offered it to his the goddess Padmavati. And knowing the effect of time, Kala Dharma, Padmavati goddess, her idol, original idol, which he had brought from Uttara Madurai, went down to Rasabhavi, which is still there underneath in the sanctum sanctorum of goddess Padmavati temple in Humcha. She went down there, and another statue, as per the instruction of goddess Padmavati herself, was brought from the hill at the back side of the temple, and it is established there in the temple now. So there are different such folk stories. And regarding the moral stories containing Jaina elements, they are collected by Dr. Jayachandra, and that tells the Danada Falayashta. What is the benefit of giving a small donation? That is there. It is, and such folk stories are incorporated in many Jaina kavyas also. And so the folk stories, Jains and Buddhists are the premiers in using folk stories and incorporating them in their works, in their epics or medium-sized poetry books, etc., kavyas. And so lastly, I shall mention about the place names which have Jaina influence. Professor Shubchandra has pointed out in one of his papers about some place names which are the effect of Jaina influence. Nagathana is a place in Bidar district. So it is some little distance from Bidar district headquarters, that is Nagasthana. Another place name is Kamatana. It is Kamatasthana. Kamatasthana means after the name of the brother of Lord Parshvanatha. Like that, many such places there. And Shravaneri is the name of another village that is about shamans, the Jaina sadhus. And then Shravandanahalli, it is another place in our Tumkur district. It is Shravananahalli. So like that. And Jinanathapura, a village which is just behind the Chandragiri or small hill of Shravanabeлагula. There is a beautiful Basadi built during Hoysala period. So Jinanathapura, it is quite obvious that it is named after Jina. Kundadri, a hill about 18 miles from Humcha, about 35 kilometers from Humcha. So there it is after Kundacharya. And Bhatkala, another a fourth town in the coastal district of Uttar Kannada in Karnataka. Bhatkala, it is after Bhatta Kalanka, like that. So Janakal is another small town in Chitradurga district. It is Jainakal. Jainakal has later become Janakal, like that. So, like this, there are, and you know very well about the Shravana Belagula. Shravana is Jaina ascetic, and Belagula, Biliyakula, the white pond, believed to be formed by the milk flowed down during the anointing ceremony of Bhagavan, etc. like this. So here I think I have just crossed the time. I am very much, and this is the collection of my folk songs, an abridged form of my thesis. It contains a 20-page introduction and folk songs, folk proverbs, and folk legends collected by me. And it is published by the Karnataka Government Department of Kannada and Culture. And this is my PhD thesis. Perhaps the viewers may be seeing it in the reverse form. I can't help it. Jaina Janapada Sahitya. This is the second edition of the printing. Here I have added 108 Tripadis collected by Mr. D.N. Akki, who has done some work in the field of folk literature also. And a majority of those are added or on Goddess Padmavati. So this book, these are the two books on the Jaina folklore that I have done. So thank you one and all for your patientful hearing, and but for the gracious arrangement made by the pains taken by Mr. Nitin. These series of programs would not have been possible. I hope the viewers are benefited by this. Thank you one and all. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you, sir. Jai Jinendra. What a wonderful lecture it was. It has put in different thoughts in our mind to think differently on Jain heritage. And just to summarize, I think sir started with how the Jaina folklore study started and his efforts and their forms. I think, and just to quote a couple of things, I think the Padmavati and the other Yakshi songs related to Kirtankaras, particularly and also related to Lord Bahubali, the cradle songs, the mention of Adi Jina, Jinadatta Raya, and the bangle wearing songs of, and the relation to Goddess Padmavati, and the Diksha songs, and the local interactions. I think what I feel is all these throw light on the local state of affairs. They throw light on the local state of affairs that prevailed in the community around the period, how historical aspects are vividly described by the folk, and all these aspects helps us think more towards giving more attention to this literary form, which would help us unearth some interesting aspects of Jain history and heritage, and give the study of Jain history and heritage a very different dimension. I think this is one of the areas which has not been touched much. Sir has clearly, through his talk, has clearly proved it as to how differently we can think, how differently we can unearth interesting aspects of Jain history and heritage. Thank you, sir, once again for giving your precious time with us and spending time with us. Thank you.